morning, everyone. I remember once as a rabbinical student, I went to visit a prison on Chalamot Pesach to, celebrate the holiday with the Jewish inmates. And I remember sitting with them, and I said to them, "How was your Pesach Seder?" Because they had a Seder in the jail. And they said, "Rabbi, everything was wonderful, but when we went to open the door for Elijah the prophet, the door wouldn't open." Which raises a very serious question. Question is, how is it that Jews could celebrate Pesach in jail? How could you celebrate freedom when you're not free? And this is a question that was experienced throughout all the ages. During the Holocaust, we know there were Pesach Seders conducted in secrecy in the concentration camps. How could a Jew celebrate freedom when they're in the greatest hell on earth? And this has been true throughout all the ages. As a matter of fact, one of the stories in the Aggadah is about the 5 great rabbis who were talking about the story of the Passover Seder all night long till their students came and told them, "Rabbis, it's time to say the morning Shema." And the question is, didn't they know it was the time for the morning Shema? Didn't they see it was sunrise? Why did they need the students to come tell them it's time to read the Shema? The commentators explain that these 5 great rabbis were living during the times of the Roman occupation, where it was forbidden to practice Judaism. So they were conducting a Seder in a cave, and their students were watching for Roman guards and soldiers on the lookout. And therefore they didn't know it was morning, because they were in a dark cave, and therefore the students had to tell them it was morning. So you see, throughout Jewish history, we experienced and celebrated Passover even in the darkest times. And a person could say today, if I don't feel free in my life, I have my own confinement, my own imprisonment that I find myself in, whatever kind it may be, physical, emotional, spiritual, whatever it may be. How do I celebrate freedom? So the Dubna Magna tells the story about a man who once won the lottery. He became very rich. And every year on the day that he won the lottery, he would make a big party for his friends. A number of years later, his fortune was reversed and he lost all his money. So when it came to anniversary, nobody expected him to have a party because he lost all his money. But he called his friends for a party. They said, "Then what are you celebrating? You lost all your money." And he said, "Growing up as a poor kid, I never got a good education. When I won the money, one of the things I did was I hired the best teachers to give me the best education money could buy. I may have lost all the money, but I still have that education, and internally I'm a free person because of that." Says the Dubna Magid, yes, the freedom of Egypt may have been reversed many times throughout Jewish history, but we went to Mount Sinai and got the Torah. And once we got the Torah, we're spiritually free, and therefore that freedom could never be taken for us. As Viktor Frankl talks about what he witnessed in the concentration camps, that people were free in the concentration camps. They were able to give generously to others and not lose their humanity. And therefore that allows us to be free under all circumstances. But perhaps there's one other explanation. Albert Einstein once said, "It's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer." The key to life sometimes is persistence. I heard an interesting definition last night. Someone said that the river is the most persistent thing. It keeps on running. Nothing gets in its way. If there's a boulder, if there's a rock, it finds a way around and it keeps on flowing. Why is the river so persistent? Because it always wants to get back to its source, which is the sea. And what does that mean on a spiritual level? What makes us human beings persistent? We want to get back to our source. What is our source? Our source is God. God is free, and therefore we want to be free. And therefore, with the exodus from Egypt and the giving of the Torah, it was wired into our DNA, the idea of freedom. And even if we're not free, we're always yearning for freedom. We're always striving for freedom. We're always going towards freedom because it's part of who we are. We cannot live without freedom. Give me liberty or give me death. And that was given to the human beings and to the Jewish people in particular at the exodus from Egypt. And therefore, even when we're not free, we're still like the river, seeking a way to find our way back to freedom, because freedom is to be one with Hashem. As Hashem is free, every human being is in His image, should be free as well. Tell a story about a man who was going on a road, and he came to a fork in the road. He didn't know which way, left or right, will lead him to his destination, to his town. And there was a sign that stood at this intersection, but it had fallen over, so he had no way of knowing left or right will go to the town he needs to go to. So the sign that once stood there was a 3-pronged sign. So what did he do? He picked up the sign. He said, "I know the name of the town I'm coming from." So he pointed the name of the town with the arrow back in the direction he was coming from. And automatically the other two arrows aligned perfectly, and he knew which direction will lead to his town. So the message of the Exodus from Egypt, as long as we look back where we're coming from, Hashem took us out of Egypt. He said, you're my people. You're going to be a free nation. Here's the Torah. This is what you should aspire to. Even if we come to forks in the road, as Yogi Berra once said, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. The main thing is that we keep on moving forward towards freedom no matter what the circumstances. And by looking back to what happened to us 3,300 years ago, we always find the proper path to go towards freedom. And in that sense, we're always free.